Yes, I own it. I can put my coffee on it.
Absolutely. Go right ahead.
Thank you.
Hey guys, it's Ryan from AMS here. We're in beautiful Albany, New York at the Palace Theater. We had a chance to stand up and talk to Joe Bonamassa. The guy sounds like $1 million for a reason, because he was probably playing through about $1 million worth of gear. We got to check out his pedals, his amps, his guitars, and a few tricks he learned along the way. We hope you enjoyed it.
All right, so what we have here at the Palace Theater in Albany it probably can best be described as the world's most expensive 3-channel amp. So in this cabinet here, this was built by Peter van Wilden in the Netherlands, and it's got 4 EV12Ls in it, split vertically 212, 212, so it's like two 2x12s just condensed. The Marshalls, which you'll see in a minute, will run through there, and these are always on.
Okay.
And it's the baseline tone, it's the gain, it's the high to low. Most of the gain comes from there. And then there's 3 separate mid stacks.
Now, are you using EVs for the headroom? Is it
kind of I whatever the internet tells me, I tend to do the exact opposite.
That's the right thing to do.
I do the exact opposite.
Okay.
So with Marshalls, especially high gain preamp Marshalls like the 87 Silver Jubilee, I like what the EVs do because there's no coloration. Like Celestions will color it.
For sure.
And they'll give up. This is exactly what the amp is doing, because you're not going to bark a 300 watt speaker.
No.
So whatever that amp is doing, and
it's a fair representation.
I'll play it for you.
Cool.
So those are always on. Then setting A, which is over here, this is the OG Layla box from probably 25 years.
Switcher.
And all it is it's 3 settings. A is the 2 Marshalls and the 2 twins.
Got it.
B is the 2 Marshalls and the 2 combo Dumbles with the Leslie.
Okay.
Those are 50 watt overdrive specials. One's a 84 on top and around a 2003 on the bottom.
Is one of these number 92? Only reason we ask is we met with Mark Tremonti a couple weeks ago, and he said he had 91 and that he knew you had 92, and they were completely different.
Yes. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know which I should know, but there are 8 of them.
Okay.
So, and then setting 3 is the outside. So allow me to demonstrate. I'll be right back.
Do I need earplugs?
Yes.
Okay. And these are your signature Fenders, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Fender made me 4 black case twins.
Okay. High power?
They're all high power.
Yeah.
And the reason being is when we put this rig together, it just aesthetically looked better.
Yeah, it does.
In black.
It's like a tuxedo.
So, and the Marshalls, one of the Marshalls is the delay. And it does the Leslie. And those are the only 2 things in the loop.
Okay.
So what you're hearing is the 2 twins and the 2 Marshalls, and it's as loud as they go. And so that's more straightforward, kind of a rock thing.
Kind of fairly dark too, but like it's got cut, but you know,
it's a good loud.
It is. There's no fatigue.
And by the way, it gets darker from here.
Okay.
So here are the combo Dumbles.
Got it.
And those combos are set to the overdrive channel.
Okay. And how loud you got them on? Like dimed or?
As loud as they go.
Okay.
I mean, the only thing is, they're set to like 5 or 6, so it's as loud as the amps will go.
Okay.
Without
overly compressing.
Well, no, it's
no, because I even noticed you on this one you came by before and it was like it was off by half a tick, and I could see that you were.
Well, it's also how hard, because I'm crazy,
okay.
And once again I do not listen to the internet. So my reverb for this little dual amp setup in the Leslie is just an RV5.
Right.
Runs straight into the front of the amps. No
Can't
loops.
go wrong with Boss.
And it works.
Yeah, it sounds good.
But you know, I use the first input on the Dumbles to hit the reverb. So it's how you set it.
Yep. And then the delay is the DD8
and the DD2.
DD2, excuse me. Yeah. All right.
All right. So that's. Okay, and then the outside C is that 100-watt overdrive special set to what I could best describe as like a Larry Carlton thing.
Got it.
Clean channel, but the FET input clean channel driven.
A little bit bite though. Yeah.
And it's the most articulate.
I was going to say there's a good bit of presence with that.
So it's the most articulate that I get, and to the point where the nights where I suck, you don't see the red button.
Oh, got it. All right.
Notables is we just came out with this Deep State, which is
man.
an extremely well done Klon kind of pedal. So
Is it a particular Klon you were basing that off of? I mean, it's silver, so I assume this kind of like that guy, or is it just whatever kind of Klon you're going for?
George just modeled it after a Klon. You know?
Got it.
And OG Tube Screamer.
Yep.
So that's an 81. So you can see the pattern. It's just different stages of mid-range, depending on the song. And I like pedals that do something that radical. Yeah, so you got micro flanger, standard pog. I try to keep the EVs on with those.
Yeah, to handle that low end.
The Celestians.
Got it.
And then the fuzz face is only connected to the twins, so the Marshalls don't have it, but the twins do. And then a Lake Placid blue painted by Fender.
That's important.
A Crybaby Joe Bonamassa that Dunlop and Fender collaborated on. They made 2 blue ones for me, so it's
nice. That's really shaping your low mids. I mean, the throatiness is there.
And then if the rig wasn't bourgeois enough, we taped this Klon to the floor, which you see.
That's a real one. I didn't know if that was.
That's New Battery Day.
Oh, okay.
Generally,
I love New Battery Day.
Just as a rule of thumb, you don't have to ask that question. Is that a real one?
Yeah.
The answer around here is yes.
Understood.
Yes.
Yeah. In my house, it's always no.
Is that a real 59 Les Paul?
I know.
Yes.
I wasn't allowed to touch it.
Yeah. So it does different.
Got it.
And then the rarest thing we have here is the 90s OG Mesa Boogie Revolver.
Oh, yes.
And that's a 12-inch speaker that rotates.
Okay.
And I keep it on mostly for chorus, for just the solo tone.
Right.
And it just spreads it out a little bit. But if you want the Leslie Sim, so
that sounds awesome.
The comment section would be like, well, it all sounds the same. It's like, it really doesn't.
Not at all. Not standing here,
it is different stacks of mid depending on the song, because I got 11-piece band, including me, so I have to fit in between.
Right.
You know, I can't take up all the bandwidth. You know, because I have second guitar player Josh Smith, who's awesome.
Right.
And I have horns, and I have a bass, and I have a keyboard. So all that, this whole front line really will eat into your mid bandwidth.
And you're using your tone and volume knobs quite a bit too, so you got to think about what's on and what's not, right? I mean, in terms of how it all reacts.
Generally, nothing is on except the delay.
Got it. Okay.
So, and then there's a TC chorus on this outside Dumble alone. That's an original one. You can use the reissues; they're absolutely fine.
Yeah, especially with the right amps.
And the P split, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 P splits. That's how we split it all.
Okay.
To get it to talk to each other.
And so when you're playing now, like in front of, like, you're basically handling everything. No one's switching for you. You're just kind of bringing it in and out as you see fit.
Well, I mean, the mic's in a spot where I sing.
Sure.
Click that on off. That's the most clicked.
Okay.
And that's it.
So, and again, fairly simple, but, you know, with a lot of options. What is the deep state giving you that the OG is not, or vice versa?
It's a different mid-range.
Okay. Yeah, it's brighter.
So it has a little more mid-range.
For sure.
Which is good. It depends on the room.
True.
You know?
This room's nice.
It depends on the room and how it sounds.
Got it.
And yeah, other than that, that's pretty much, I call it the amp shanty.
As you should. Sounds fantastic.
And
I mean, you could really feel it too, and I guess that's a big part of it as well, right? Not just the volume.
Yeah, well, when I'm up here, it's 115 dB where I stand.
Right.
Peak, you know? It's about 100 at the front. So our sound team does a wonderful job
for sure.
keeping this
not annihilating the front row. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I could never. I mean, without the baffle, it would be
deafening.
Yeah, I've had him fall over on a cruise ship once.
Oh, really?
And you don't want anything to do with that. You know, and some days I.
For as loud as it is, like it's glorious. It's not one of those things where it's like, oh my god, like
no, it's not piercing.
Get out of the way. Yeah,
it's not piercing.
And where do you find that? How do you just find that threshold where you're like, I want cut, I want articulation, but it's not shrill? You just
that's the mid stack.
Yeah, a lot of homework.
That's the mid stack.
Yeah,
because one amplifier at this volume does not have the headroom to create all the different mid ranges. You know, like it takes most power to drive the bottom end. Not as much power to drive the high end. So if you're not taxing one particular thing and you're just doing a specific thing, it doesn't collapse. So like the Marshalls are the gain set at noon, but the master volume's all the way up. And like today, it's a little dark, so
yeah, but not in a bad way.
So sometimes I'll just drop the deep switch, or maybe I won't.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it.
That's how it works.
It's pretty awesome. Now, if let's say, for instance, on a nightmare occasion, half of these go out. What could you really realistically, Desert Island amp-wise, do you think you could get away with and still get the show?
Well, I just use a high-power twin.
Yeah.
with a tube.
That would be the one.
With a green box or just deep state.
Got it. I mean, fortunately, that won't happen to you, but
never say never.
You never know. That's right.
That's why we got 2 Kikasuis. I'll show you a couple other tricks that we do. But the twins are on 9, so it's just about gain.
What is it after 9? Do you feel it compresses too much?
Yeah,
at that
it compresses.
Point? Yeah.
My kryptonite is compression.
Really?
It's got to be, the articulation of the rig has got to be, because it's high gain.
Right.
It's more gain than people think I use.
For sure. But it's a lot of power gain. Yeah, it's not preamp gain.
And so, like, my kryptonite is too much compression, too much gain.
Too much mush?
My playing style does not, I have no legato.
Okay.
0.
There's time to work on it. It's okay.
No, it's okay. I'm done.
No, you're not doing it?
10 years,
There's too many guys doing that anyway.
10 years, I'm out. And, yeah, that's, so I designed the rig so it's really, really punchy and clear.
It's definitely punchy, for sure. My pants are flapping.
Yeah. And then Josh, he uses a Morgan. I think that's his original one, the 40 watt.
Yep.
And then a 2-rock. I feel sorry because he's got to go up against the amp shanty every day.
Yeah. He's learned to deal with it, right? He's been with you for a while, huh?
3 years, yeah.
So how do you divvy up the stuff? Obviously the guy can play his ass off, but in terms of, what's his lane?
Well, I mean, it's the same as when we produce records together. It's like you want to be the Gibson guy or you want to be the Fender guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we speak enough languages to where it's like he knows the right stuff to play.
Yeah, you don't have to tell him anything.
On each of the songs. So it's not like we're not fighting frequency-wise. His rig is way more together, way more advanced, well thought out, modern, intelligent.
Isn't that what you want? I mean, you don't want 2 guys fighting with the same kind of rig for the same sonic space. It makes sense.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, his rig is 10 times more sophisticated than mine. I just keep linking a bunch of amps together until it sounds right.
What's the end in sight?
This is it. This is it.
This is it?
And by the way, there's 2 of these.
Oh, there's a backup. There's an A, B, A.
There's a B rig.
Okay.
So why have one when you can have 2 at twice the price?
Well, and what's nice too, it's just, and I know a lot of people talk about this, but the fact that you're buying this stuff and you're using it for what it was designed to do, and
there's no way I can justify having 8 Dumble amps and having them just sit in a pile.
No.
They have to go out. Like the fall, I'm going to use the Lowell George amp. It would be the first time that thing has been out playing on a stage since 1979 at the Lisner Auditorium.
Who does the work for you on those things to kind of overhaul it, make sure it's ready to go?
Well, I try not to do any work to anything.
Keep it as original as possible. Yeah.
There's one guy. There's 2 guys that actually work on the Dumble stuff for me. One, he's in Nashville. His name is Todd Sharp.
Right.
And Todd's owned Dumbles in his day, so and he knew how.
And makes his own amps.
And makes his own great amps.
Yep.
So he'll delicately, it's an amp. You got to replace the caps.
Of course, they dry out. Yep.
And my other amp tech is Bob Dixon, who I've known for a long, long time, and is the greatest tuner of a high-power twin, tweed amp. He knows Dumble stuff.
So you leave it to.
He's the greatest, and a hell of a nice guy. And we generally don't have issues. The Dumble stuff pretty much stays together. Like, we had a problem with this one, and yes, I own it. I can put my coffee on it.
Absolutely. Go right ahead.
We had a problem with this one where a tube went out, one of the original tubes, because I'm stupid enough to just, it's all original, to the tubes.
Oh.
One of the tubes goes out, and it's not a good feeling when you feel something sag on the right side or any place in the rig, and you see the pilot light on, you go, here we go, and we're in, like, stop.
And you were live.
Oh, yeah, but, I just dump out of it and use other settings.
Sure.
But, sitting there going, like, what am I going to do? Mothball this thing for the whole tour or whatever. So we brought it to some guys in Stockholm, or they were nice enough to come to the gig, and Kyle, my tech, was like, "Well, just start with the tubes. Put the tubes in it." So they put the tubes in it. Thing fires up, sounds fine. It seems like it's biased because they spec'd out the tubes, and we're like, "We're good." He's like, "Well, we really want to. We should look inside." I said, "No, we're not looking inside that one.
We want to see the goop."
Well, this amp is right between Larry's and Robbins.
Okay.
The Grail.
Yeah.
So this is 83. This is serial number 121.
And what is that, 6L6s or what's in there?
6L6s.
Yeah. Okay.
And it looks like Robbins amp. So
it really does, yeah.
I try not to hear with my eyes.
Yeah, well, fawn, I mean, that color.
Well, fawn with the tweed, that's Robbins aesthetic. So, and I bought it from the guy who paid Alexander $3,000 for it in 1984.
What is that today?
The value?
Yeah.
It depends on who you ask.
Got it.
I mean, it's only worth what somebody's willing to pay for it. Now, I've seen people asking too north of this. I'm not sure. They're gonna bury me with this. So I'm not gonna
be a big coffin.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? It's like, I don't buy it to sell. I buy it to use. And it's a big deal.
Well, it is. I mean, you know this. You've been doing this a long time, and there's a lot of people who go out and they go on safari like you do. They collect it and they keep it in a warehouse or they keep it at home, and they're right. They bought it, but
yeah, and it's a big investment for them.
For sure.
You know, I'm lucky because I have a great tech. I have logistical support. Like, you can't bring this out without having proper cases, and it's these things ride in the truck, but there's no chance of theft because there's always somebody around.
Yeah.
And if you do steal it, it has no value because it has a name and a serial number, and you're like, it's my guitar. So I'm not worried about theft. I justify that, but I also have 3 semi trucks that logistically get this stuff day in and day out, because you couldn't do this if you're just sticking it in the back of your car.
And the gear's only as good as how well you maintain it, and that's the key.
Well, yeah, and we know how to set up a Les Paul, and we know how to keep things running, but stuff kicks off, and it's
you keep chugging.
It's a lot of things. Here, I'm going to show you another trick.
Okay.
All right, so here are the Marshalls.
I was going to wonder. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so it's 2 sets. These are 87s, Silver Jubilees. Been using this one for 32
I was going to say
2 years.
It seems the most Bonamassa, legacy amp that you can think of.
I bought this at the Buffalo, New York Musicians Flea Market in 1994 for $400. The guy came from Toronto. If you notice, this one here is a Canadian import one, so it's got a different pilot. Like this, it was some UL thing up there where they required different. So this guy's walking around this convention hall with this amp. And my father was a guitar dealer at the time, and he goes, he wants $600 for it. And I wanted one, and my dad goes, too much to pay. He goes, offer him $400, right? He goes, no. He walks it around again. He comes back, another lap. And these guys Drake transformers. These are heavy.
Yeah, for sure.
He goes, would you do 5? And my father's outside, he's outside smoking or doing whatever he's doing, making a guitar deal. I go, no, my dad will only let me go up to $400. He goes, oh, okay. Comes back around about 20 minutes later. He just drops the amp in front of me and goes, give me the $400. and I've owned it ever since, and I use it. Yeah. And this is the one, I believe this is the one that has the loop. I believe the bottom one is. They're all pretty much the same. And the backups are 2555s, which are made in 1988, which is the exact same thing, only
aesthetically.
Not the 25th anniversary.
Got it.
So you can actually get good deals on these because not a lot of people, here we go again. Now everything's going to be expensive. Is because you could probably save close to $1,000 because everybody's like, well, no, I want the Silver Jubilee. It's like, well, it's a 2555. What does that say? 2555.
Yeah.
What does that say? 25. It's the same thing. Mm-hmm. So if catastrophe strikes this side, we go to this side. And if catastrophe strikes that side, I'm going home.
Now, let me ask you this question. This will be the funny one. You paid $400 for this bad boy, which everyone wants. I bet you paid more than $400 for that.
These are about $2,000 to $3,000.
Isn't that funny though that you got that one, the one that everyone wants, for the cheapest? That's probably the best $400 you ever spent.
But the thing is, it's like you can't. I never fault anybody for buying something back in the day. Like I have a Dumble that I bought from my friend Joe Martino. He bought it in 1979. He paid $975 for the head and $600 for the cabinet and a $200 discount for the Altec speakers with road cases. So he had $1,700 and he kept it, and I bought it in 2021. So he made some money on it, but you can't go, well, you only pay $1,000 for it. I'll give you a $2,000. You know what I mean? So you can't fault anybody for having the vision.
Got it.
The other trick, when we just finally got the second one back, is this whole thing.
What the heck is that?
That is the Kikasui.
Okay, watch your mouth.
That is the Kikasui. That is the power conditioner that keeps everything at 120 volts, 60 hertz. And it makes power when there's none. Like we're probably running today. Well, Josh says it's 120, so it's a good room. Some of these old theaters are...
Yeah, the wiring is a little funky.
It is such a huge difference.
Now, when did you stumble upon something like that?
I watched Angus Young's Rig Rundown.
That was it, huh?
And he said Angus prefers his Marshalls, and he has 9 stacks at 240 at 50 hertz worldwide. And I said, you know what? That makes so much sense, because when I would bring this stuff over to Europe,
for sure, yeah,
we'd be running at 115, 120, but 50 hertz. Such a huge difference in the harmonic.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah. And so I bought one, and now we have 2 because we have to split the rig because we were flaming out a couple of times.
So you're not using a Variac anywhere?
Oh no, I make power. Yeah. I don't sag it. I go up.
You want more headroom, more.
I want 120.
More punch. More punch.
I like 120, and that's
good.
And you know but it keeps it at 60 hertz at 120.
Got it.
It doesn't. If it's seeing 110, it's making 120, and they're designed, and you know, because we know the people at Kikasui, and they're like, you know, Joe, we've heard about guys like yourself and Angus Young and people like that use them. I said, well, I nicked it from Angus, because you realize that these things are designed for hospitals and MRI machines.
Oh.
Because we never thought they were going to tour.
Oh, they're not meant to be on the road. No,
but
they're
they're
to build a hospital around it.
But they're also $6,000 or $7,000 a piece.
And how much do they weigh?
They're heavy.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah, they're pretty heavy.
But you know, when you have something of this magnitude, you can't
put a one spot there, and
you don't want to just go to Walgreens and get a power strip. So it's important.
It is for sure.
And the other thing is running the Marshalls in the rack has been so much better for them because we got the fan.
That was just keeping them cool. Yeah.
And they don't because they really bounce around on those cabs, and they're being moved hard every day. So
and talking tubes, I mean, obviously, are you using new old stock, or do you find any modern tubes to be pretty good?
JJ's.
Got it. Okay.
They're fine.
Yeah, they're good.
I never went down the old glass rabbit hole, and I'll tell you why. Because you're setting yourself up for disappointment, especially on touring. Because you really want to chuck a $1,000 set of Mullers into a Silver Jubilee and hope that people way up there hear the difference? You're not.
Fair enough.
Cool, a good running tube, quality tube, and I have a drawer full of them.
Got it.
Boom.
Pop one out, pop one in.
And chuck them.
Got it.
When one goes out, we generally if a tube goes out, again, we pull the whole set out, chuck it all in the garbage.
All of them?
Yeah, because chances are that set's been burnt in, and we're I don't want another one to go out, so just put a brand new set and start over. But a lot of times, like with Celestians and I get about 30, 40 shows. Like these Celestians here in this rig, they're about slated to be pulled out. So I think we're probably at 80 shows on these speakers.
How about the EVs?
No, you're never going to wear those out.
Yeah, they're bulldogs.
But the Celestians between 40 and 80 shows, depending, and you know right away the mid-range you just go, okay, they're tired. But they're still good speakers.
You get them reconed, or what?
They're actually, what I do is the charitable event of the day. We rehearsed at Soundcheck a lot in Nashville, and I'll just leave a pile of used Celestian speakers for people to take, musicians, and they're fine. If you want to stick them in a twin or a deluxe reverb, if you're not an idiot like me, running them at complete maximum velocity.
Sure, they're going to wear out.
They're actually more broken in, and most people prefer them broken in.
I do.
I just like them. I like them when they're brand new.
Yeah.
So I just give them away. Like I always tell Kyle and everybody, stick around when it's garage sale day. A lot of free.
Please take it. Please let us know.
Look how lucky I am. I mean, it's like, why not give back? Musicians in my position tend not to pay for anything. Like thank you to Ernie Ball. I haven't paid for a set of strings in 25 years.
Say anything.
You know what I mean? You know, but I can afford the strings.
Of course.
But kids today that are just getting going, or they got touring gigs in Nashville, they're at Guitar Center buying them for $4 a pack.
For sure.
And they're buying their own picks, and they're buying their own cables and their own sundries and their slides and stuff like that. All that comes here in droves. So whatever I can give back is something that I really try to do on a daily basis, because, again, look how lucky I am. I'm an idiot with a bunch of gear.
I think luck is probably a factor, but I mean, given what you've been able to achieve in the amount of time you've done it, I mean, we're looking at talent, we're looking at drive, probably in equal measure, because one without the other, you could be a talented guy and be playing a bar for the rest of your life.
Well, I also figured out an act. That's a character up there. I figured out an act that works. And, you know, that's a thing for me where I you know, that's a character I play in the suit.
You mean with the suit, the sunglasses, all that?
It's a character. So it's not me. I'm just this guy, like, I didn't pay for any of this except for the jeans, you know, and the watch. But
it's a nice watch.
It is.
Yeah.
But you know, so whatever charitable component we can put to this stuff, you know, give away guitars, you know, amps, just take it. Because if you're going to use it, it's better than it sitting in my storage locker.
Couldn't agree more.
You know, I mean, I have the stuff I collect. I have hundreds of guitar amps, hundreds, mostly Fender.
Where do you keep it?
In my house.
Yeah.
You've never seen a house with 200 Tweed amps or 200 Fender amps on.
I've seen some videos, but yeah.
Yeah, there's about 200 amps out in the house, and nicely done. It's not just piles.
You ever thought of going to talk to someone about that? Because it sounds like it might be a problem.
Yeah, Promises in Malibu would be a place that probably would start there.
Tweed-aholics?
Well, you know, I mean, there's the stuff that I collect, and there's the stuff that I play.
Okay.
Like the majority of my collection is extremely well preserved examples of vintage guitars and amps. That's about 95% of the collection. The stuff that's on the road is the stuff that has refrets. You know what I mean?
A snake bite.
A snake bite here too.
Yeah.
You know, because you got to play something. You can't just, you know, like, you know, my ego's not big enough to scratch up something mint.
So what's the thrill of the hunt? What's the white whale? What's the one out there that you know it's waiting for you? Do you ever think about it?
There is none.
No.
I mean,
there's none left.
No. I mean, it's like whatever. I mean, I had a original owner dual pickup 54 Esquire walk in the back stage area in Dayton, Ohio. You never know.
These things find you sometimes.
They all find me.
Yeah.
You know. So, I mean, some of the superstars here. This one is the Bludgeon. This is pretty famous in my world.
Sure.
The no-caster with the PAF.
And do you know who put it in there back when, or was it just that's how it got to you?
It was a Tejano musician who owned this, and this floated around L.A. in 2013. Nobody wanted to buy it.
You're kidding.
And
Any particular reason, or?
Because it had the humbucker in it.
Oh.
And somebody was slated to buy it from Guitar Center, and I got there first, and he was going to restore it. I go, this is the coolest thing ever.
Did it knock you out the minute you plugged it in, or did it grow on you?
No, it's the best sounding guitar I own.
And then that's the stock Fender single coil in the bridge?
That's the the original flat pole.
Yeah. Okay.
And
then Fender did a run of those for you?
They did. They did 100.
Killer.
They did 100.
Yeah.
And then this one became an instant star. This is a refinish model, but it's so hideous, it's cool.
I love it. I love it.
64. I got it from Norman. And he didn't think I would want something like this. I go, Norman, this is really cool.
Do we know anything about the refin or what happened? Or
I got pictures of the guy playing it in the 70s, and it's green like this.
Okay, so it's not like a yellowed over the. Like
no,
it was green.
This was refinished in this sunburst.
He wanted that
in particular.
What do you call it?
I don't have a name for this one, but it's the green Strat.
You know what we'll do? We'll put it in the comments. We'll see if people want to name it for you.
No, they're not allowed to name it.
Oh, sorry.
I'm the only one that names it.
Strike that.
No,
I don't look at the comments anymore.
Never ask them what they think. And this is a 59 blonde Strat.
Yes, it is.
And I got this from Norm, and I was playing it with the original frets.
Skinnies?
Yeah, they're just stock Fender frets, but it's been played in.
Right.
And I was just like, it's like kind of a surfboard, but it's a super rare guitar.
For sure, yeah.
But I said, you know what? Every once in a while, you got to commit to playing these things for the rest of your life. So Nick at Joe Glazier's put frets on this right before the tour.
But they don't look like they're massive frets. I mean,
they're Fender frets. So you don't want to go too wide because
that just reminds me of like what Billy Gibbons would play on Blue Jean Blues or something. Like it just
Yeah, I mean, a maple neck Strat is a maple neck Strat.
It's a beautiful thing.
And then this is the snakebite, which you heard.
Yes.
That's why they call it
glorious.
And that's because it's got a snakebite.
Yeah.
It had a Bigsby on it, but it's not a Bigsby guitar. Somebody flirted with the Bigsby and then took it off.
Thought better of it.
Well, I mean, everybody wanted a tremolo, and you know, these things were worth $200.
It's amazing, isn't it?
And I've had this one a long time, probably 14 years.
What keeps it in the rotation? What does it do for you that
it's just a good guitar. It's
just fair enough.
It just stays in tune. It's not mint, obviously. This one I just got from Phoenix. We call this the Phoenix Burst. Nice color on that.
Beautiful. Is that a 60 or
59?
Oh, see that much red on a 59?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
That's what they all looked like before they faded.
But someone took good. That didn't see a window.
It got played.
For sure.
But it's not abused.
No, it's beautiful.
0406.
No cracks, no issues.
No issues. Except it's been refretted, which is not an issue to me.
No. That's an important thing.
Because, it's like, why drive a race car with bald tires?
I never do.
This is an interesting one. This is a early SG Les Paul. It's a 1960, so it's an ink stamp.
Oh, okay.
One of the OGs.
I thought 61 was when that had.
No, they came out in 60.
Okay.
It's 08890.
Looks like a pretty skinny neck on that guy too.
It's not so bad.
No.
But if you notice on these, my friend Matt Kaler told me about this.
The beveling, or
no, the pickguards on the original runs were longer. If you notice,
for sure.
They touch the rhythm treble ring. Now, if you look at SGs that come later, now this is
the one we're kind of more used to.
This is the one that this is now called a solid guitar by this time. This is a 63.
Okay.
Les he's out, but notice how short the pickguard is.
Yeah.
So you can almost stick your finger in between there. So if you see a long guard, that's usually an ink stamp, and they come with like a brown case.
So I always think of the guards, long guards and stuff like that for 335s and stuff like that. I never thought about it for SGs.
Not a lot of people know. Not a lot of people have ever seen an ink stamp. So they did make them in 60. So there was some cross-pollination. They're shipping whatever's left of the Les Pauls. And then here's the best sounding Les Paul that I have. It's 335.
That best sounding Les Paul, huh?
1962.
It's a Paul killer?
It's the best sounding Les Paul I have. It just howls.
Really?
And so this is a nice one. I got this from my friend Drew in Atlanta years ago, and then this one I got in the UK also years ago. Matching 62.
Oh yeah.
This one has nylon saddles. That one doesn't.
Yeah, I'm thinking fair, like the Last Cream kind of vibe.
Well, we all wanted one because
of course we do.
because of the Albert Hall 68.
Sure.
I mean, So that's it. And then this is the two of everything. So
and we can't look at that one.
That's Amos copy.
I know.
That's a Murphy Lab.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, and I have another one coming, a prototype of the Amos run that we're doing. So I have a spot for it whenever Gibson wants to get around to sending it to me.
When you go on tour and you do something like this, I mean, how do you, when you're sitting at home looking at everything, what makes the cut? Is it just
I have about 50 guitars
in rotation?
Because most years we have to do a B rig.
Got it.
So there's a second set of everything because that ships to Europe every year, and we do our European stuff, and then it comes home. This is the stuff that stays in America. So we mix and match. I'll send, like now I have 2 blackguards out. So I'll normally I send one and one, and then this is a 53.
Got it.
I've had this a long time too. So
let me ask you a question.
I have an answer.
Is there anything cooler than an electric guitar? I mean, just like a really good old guitar. Is there anything cooler than that? And if so, why do we say we nerd out or we geek out when everything that is so great about it is there's nothing nerdy about it at all?
I think what attracts people to this stuff is its application today is different than it was intended back when they built it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They weren't. This thing, when it was built, never anticipated that one day it would be played at that volume.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's still relevant, and it's just never boring. And, everything is made in America. Everything. Every part on it.
Every screw.
Every part, yeah. Except for the Marshalls, which are Milton Keynes. And the Van Wielden can, which is the Netherlands.
The back scratchers?
These are China.
Oh, okay. Just want to make it sure.
All the merch is China. Yes.
Awesome.
And so that's the traveling rotation.
And of course, the obligatory blue snakeskin strap.
Yeah, Ernie Ball makes all these for me, so they're great straps.
Yeah, they're cool.
So I use them. You know, they're just. I try to pick the color.
Nariest strap lock in sight.
No, we use the
Grolsch
Bonalocks.
caps. Yeah.
Or the Grolsch caps.
Yeah.
But I'm not like this isn't a Cinderella gig in 1985. Okay, I mean it's like I hold on to the guitar. I mean I never ever will have a Sunburst Les Paul on me. And I'm just
let it dangle.
Let it no, because you always got to keep when you put it on, it's like, and you're talking to the audience, it's like, you always see me like that.
Yeah.
Because you never know. You know, and if you don't want to use your right hand, I hold on by the heel. They're only straight once.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's it.
No mystery.
Well, there's a lot of mystery.
Yeah, there is.
But it's not rocket science. It's just a considerable investment. But part of my show, my fans know the names of the guitars.
For sure.
So it's part of the show that gets,
That's why we still go to see Rick Nielsen. I want to see what's on the side.
I want to see the five neck.
Absolutely.
I want to see the Explorer.
All of it.
So I mean, I nicked a lot of that stuff from Rick. That idea of playing authentic guitars on stage is, those cheap trick gigs I did in the late 90s, early 2000s. I was like, well, that's the real stuff. And he's like, I remember when Gary Rossington, rest in peace, used to still bring Bernice out. I mean, it didn't faze them.
Right.
Oh, this is my Les Paul.
Yeah.
The
one.
It's a 59, but it's my Les Paul. It's like they look at it as like a screwdriver.
It's his hammer for sure.
Yeah. So it's about sharing with the fans and anybody's I give these kind of tours off camera all the time for if I meet somebody in the meet and greet, they start saying the right things. I'm like, I had a guy who had a reissue bludgeon, and he's wanted me to sign it. He's in the meet and greet. He's like, man, one of these days I'd really love to see the real thing. I said, well, it's 150 feet from here. Just come up. So I brought him up and handed it to him.
But you understand that it's kind of rare that a lot of artists of your ilk will be that cavalier about it and that kind of open to doing that. A lot of people don't do that.
I always start with this line. When I hand them a big guitar, like a Sunburst or whatever, I asked them, have you ever dropped the guitar? And they always say no. I said, don't start now.
But there you go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So there's your nickel tour.
I love it.
It's worth a dime.
Yeah. All right, we'll pay on the way out, and I appreciate your time. This has probably been more than 30 minutes too, and that's why we're getting the evil eye over there.
No, we got a sound check party.
Do your thing, absolutely. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks,
I really
man.
appreciate it. Thank you. I'd like to give a huge thanks to Joe for taking the time to walk us through his rig and show us his incredible collection. For more content like this, be sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to get some great gear like that, come check us out at AmericanMusical.com.